Hi friends, in this video we're going to learn a very interesting lesson called as the Princess September Class 8. So the king and queen of Siam had many daughters. In order to avoid confusion, the king called the princesses by their names of like the months, which are like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August and September. The last daughter's name was named September. And the king of Siam had a peculiar habit of instead accepting gifts for birthday, he used to give everyone gifts. How weird is that? Okay. One year on his birthday, he gave each one of the princesses a green parrot for his birthday in a golden cage. The princesses taught the bird to say, "God save the king." Some of the parrots would say "Pretty Polly" in several Oriental languages. Oriental languages means on their specific language. For example, in London, they'll say in English, and then in India they'll say Hindi or like Tamil. So in their own language, the languages which are common in places are called as Oriental languages. One day the Princess September found that her parrot was flying red. She was the youngest. Her name was Princess September, and she burst into tears because the parrot was lying dead. And the queen called her crying nonsense and put her to bed without any supper. The Princess September woke up by a little song of the bird. He flew into her room and sang beautifully. Princess September forgot crying and she agreed to have it in the place of the dead parrot. When the princess woke the next day, the little songbird was still there and said good morning and ate rice out of her hand. Everybody was surprised to see that. The bird was just eating just a peculiar bird coming, and then it's eating out of princess hand and it's singing and it says good morning, okay. And then everyone were like really surprised, and the Princess September decided to show her bird to her 8 sisters, and for each of the sisters the bird sang different song, and the parrots could only say, the other parrots could like only say God save me, or like they can say Pretty Polly, right? But the king and the queen were also so surprised and delighted to hear the bird song. And then the king had got tired of those parrots saying Pretty Polly and saved the king. The 8 princesses were like worried now. The parrots also were only sad. Only Princess September ran in the palace singing like a lark. The jealous sisters took a nasty decision. They pointed out to their younger sisters that they pointed out to the younger sisters that she should put her bird into the cage and least should fly away for good. They thought that it was bad, like they were just tricking Princess September, telling that you should just put it in cage. It's not a good bird. And the little bird came late that evening, and September's worry was that about his safety from the hawks and the hunter traps. So as he came, she pushed him into a cage and shut the door. The bird was taken back. He hoped that he would be set free in the morning, but he cried in vain for liberty. As a result, he lost his singing talent and he refused to eat anything. The next day, the Princess September was found the bird like lying with his eyes closed. He looked as if he were dead. Seeing this condition, she agreed him to leave the golden cage, and the bird promised to return every day and sing a song to her. Her sisters made fun of her. They said he would never return, but he did at last. And he sat on September's shoulder and ate out of her hand and sang her beautiful songs that he had learned. And September had her window open all day and night, for the bird to fly in and out. The fresh air from the open window made the princess extremely beautiful, and she was married to a king of Cambodia, but her sisters, who kept the window shut, grew ugly as well as unpleasant, so they married to like the king's ministers. So she was, nice and kind and understandable to that bird, as she was very understandable and, kind, and let the bird has its own privacy. So it affected on the sisters' life, who were very jealous of Princess September and thought of doing bad to her. Princess September was then married to the king of Cambodia, but her sisters, who were jealous and they grew up to be very ugly because of their sins. And then the windows were also shut because they wanted the birds to be inside the house. How can it even it would affect their habitat, right? And then they were very unpleasant, so they were only married to like the princess ministers, the ministers which like helped the kings. So yes guys, that's it for today's video. This was a very small but yet a very interesting lesson. So make sure like, share and subscribe for more. Bye.